안녕하세요 여러분, Nomadic Maddie입니다. Hey guys, this is Nomadic Mada and I am standing on the rooftop of my new apartment. So some of you may remember I was apartment hunting back in August. This is actually one of the apartments that I was looking at. I've been living here for about 6 months now. And I just didn't get around to making this video any sooner because I was traveling, doing my Celta, visiting home for Christmas, and all this crazy stuff. And sadly, by the time this video is posted, I'll actually have moved out of this apartment because I got a new job over on the other side of town. My new job provides me with an apartment, so I don't need this one, but I'm really sad to let it go because it was such a good find and I found it on my own. Before I have to leave, I really wanted to give you guys a tour of what an apartment in Seoul is like, and also what a rooftop apartment is like. Many of you may have seen apartments like this in dramas. They're kind of romanticized. There can be a lot of negatives about them, but I really struck gold with this one, so I'm gonna take you guys around and enjoy. Alright, so before we even go into the apartment, I want to show you guys my patio and rooftop space, which is a big part of why this apartment is so great. Right now it's winter, so there's not really much going on up here, but normally my neighbors will come up and garden on occasion, or I mostly just have it to myself. Right now we're technically on the rooftop of the whole building, but this black metal staircase leads onto the rooftop of my actual apartment unit. Occasionally, the elderly women who live below me will use it as a space to dry out vegetables in the sun, but I pretty much have it to myself. It's a really nice place to come up and sit out at on mats with a little portable grill and grill meat and have beer in the spring, summer, and fall. And the view's not that bad either. When it was unbearably hot in the summertime, I would just come and hang out on the rooftop instead of sitting inside my boiling hot apartment. And up the back of this hill here you can see all of the old style Korean homes, which looks really pretty at nighttime. So we're gonna head back downstairs, and one last thing I wanted to show you guys before we go inside the apartment is the street that this building is on. You can tell this is one of the older, more original streets in Seoul because of how narrow and tiny this alleyway is. When I was moving in, my driver had to fit the truck through this tiny little T-way intersection and then somehow get the truck turned around so he could reverse up the alleyway. And I want to show you guys what this looks like from the ground because the road is quite steep and you can't even get through with a vehicle from this end because the top of the hill turns into stairs. Now, if you watched my last video where I moved up from Bosong, you probably recognize the exterior of this apartment. There are a couple of really great amenities close by that I wanted to show you guys. So we're gonna haul up this hill here. This red box on the green post is an emergency call button. If I press it, the police will immediately come to this area. And the camera has 24-hour CCTV and the street lamp is always lit at night, so the area made me feel really safe. Also, right down the road here is a CU that is 24 hours, so if I ever needed anything, it was literally just a few steps from my apartment. Continuing down this road, the other huge reason why I love this place was because it was so close to the subway station. Public transport is everything in Seoul, so the location of this apartment was awesome. So enough about the exterior, let's go inside and see what a rooftop apartment actually looks like. Opening the front door of this apartment, we step into the kitchen area, which is kind of a long, narrow galley-style kitchen. When I first moved in, the apartment came with a stove, and I asked that the landlord keep their refrigerator in here as well. These appliances were something that I negotiated for while signing the contract. This apartment didn't have a lot of counter space, so I ordered these off of Gmarket for cheap, and I just used a bookshelf from IKEA for shoe storage because my old apartment had a built-in. Again, since I don't do too much cooking at home, the lack of counter space and small sink wasn't really a problem for me. I did want to clean up this area and make it cute though, so I got some aluminum tile papering from Daiso to kind of cover the old stuff that was left behind from the previous tenant. The cabinet space here was pretty small as well, but again, I'm just one person, I don't cook a lot, and I pretty much just filled it with tea and snacks. The lighting in this unit is actually pretty great because there are no buildings that block the windows. I did have one problem though, which if we go outside here, is that my elderly neighbors below like to hang fish outside my windows. One of the most important things about living in a small space is knowing how to use every nook and cranny effectively and to your advantage. Definitely make use of all available surfaces, and don't be afraid to use something unconventional like a bookshelf. So if you saw my moving day video, you know that this entire place was wiped clean and fresh when I moved in, and that the bedroom was really tiny. However, now that I've gotten everything settled, this is what it looks like now. One of the most obvious changes is that I decided to leave my queen-size bed back in Bolsung for the next teacher to use and instead brought my guest bed, which is a Korean-style floor bed. The majority of large furniture that was in my apartment also belonged to the school, so I ended up going to IKEA as well as shopping on Gmarket and bought a whole bunch of new stuff to keep all of my clothing and knickknacks in. I also bought this divider to keep my clothes protected from the sun, and as mentioned, an aircon unit since my apartment was unbearably hot in the summer. I purchased this makeup table my first year in Korea and definitely made sure to bring it along with me when I moved up. And I use the space underneath it for extension cords because I keep my little workstation right at the foot of my bed. This Calyx dresser from IKEA was probably one of the best purchases that I made. Gave me a ton of surface area on top, and then on the bottom I used it for bookshelf storage, and in the green containers I was able to put all my art supplies. As I said before, I chose to leave my queen-size bed behind in Bolsung and instead just brought up my foldable Korean-style bed. The biggest reason was honestly because this bed is way more comfortable than my spring mattress, but the added bonus is that it folds away for storage if I ever have guests over. Hey, so this is what my apartment looks like when the bed is out, but if I have friends over, I usually put it away. So I'll show you what that looks like. My mattress folds up and is the exact width of my couch, which is perfect for storage. And then I have a little space here where I can have tea with my friends, or even put out my bigger table that I keep stored in my kitchen. Once again, using all available space, my sheets get tucked up above my closet. Again, I cannot reiterate enough the importance of using your space effectively. Even when it's empty, this room looks really tiny. But the way that the previous tenant kept it with all of her furniture and knickknacks makes it look even smaller. It might be hard to believe, but this shot and this one were taken from standing in the exact same spot. Same apartment, same camera, same angle, everything. The only thing that I changed was the kind of furniture I was putting in the space and how I arranged it. And we have the bathroom. Now, because this is a rooftop unit, this apartment used to be sort of a storage shed. I negotiated with the landlord for them to keep the washing machine in here, but for the most part, the bathroom looks pretty rough. So this bathroom is sort of awkwardly long and skinny, and I don't have a storage closet like I did in my previous apartments. In the end, I decided to use sort of this corner by the door as a makeshift storage space for all of my laundry and cleaning supplies, as well as just general storage. In Korea, it's very common to use shower shoes even when you're just going to the bathroom, and since my feet are pretty small, I bought a guy-sized pair for my friends too. I didn't really do too much in this apartment because there's not much to do to this bathroom space, but I did put up some lights to make it a little more homey, and I sort of cleaned off the old crappy bubble wrap that used to be on the walls and redid it for winter. Also, a lot of older style Korean homes use windows as their form of ventilation, so if you're ever showering and you have an apartment like this, make sure your window is open, even in winter. Otherwise, you're gonna end up with mold, and that's a huge pain in the to get rid of. One final difference you'll notice between this bathroom and a Western style one is the fact that there is no proper sink, and there's a little stool on the floor for the shower. As you can see, the shower head here is quite high, so you're just supposed to sit on the floor and take your bath there. Alright, and that's about it. So hopefully this gives you guys a better idea of what apartments are like in Seoul. This apartment is Gupyeong. It's about 30 square meters or 320 square feet. So it's pretty small, but I find it's great for one person. I really like that my kitchen is separate from my living space, so that smells from the kitchen don't get into my bedroom if I'm cooking. But a lot of Korean apartments is just all one unit, which is probably similar to what I'm moving into with my new job. So once I moved in there, Again, moving for the 5th time. I'll show you guys that place as well. In terms of cost, something of this size in a brand new apartment building would be a lot more expensive normally. It's cheaper because it's a rooftop unit. One of the biggest problems with rooftops are they can get water in and get moldy if they aren't sealed well, especially in winter. In the summer, they can be really, really hot, and in winter, if you don't weatherproof them, they can be really, really cold. For summer, when I first moved in, I was determined to not pay for an air conditioner, not have it installed. The hottest night I spent in here was about 34 degrees Celsius. It was unbearable. So I did end up installing an air conditioning unit. I paid about $300 to have that done. Because this main room is fairly small, my electricity bills are super low for running my air conditioner, and it like instantly cools the whole place. I'm very lucky with my unit in that I weatherproofed for winter and it retains heat really well. My bills tend to be really low. My heating is pretty much normal as to what I paid back at my other apartment. So this rooftop unit I think I just got really, really lucky with. I don't have mold, I don't have bugs, I don't have any of those typical problems. So how much does a place like this cost, especially at such a prime location in the heart of Seoul near all of the universities and nightlife? For my apartment, my lump sum is about 4 million Korean won, and my monthly rent is 400,000 Korean won. That's an amazing deal. In Seoul, a lot of the other places that I was looking at, instead of 9 pyeong, were maybe 7 or even 6 pyeong, and those places required a 5 million deposit and still cost 600 a month in rent, or they would say a 10 million deposit and would be about 500 a month in rent. Plus you pay utilities, plus you pay 관리비, which are like apartment fees, and it was outrageous. There was just no way that that was feasible for my budget. So hopefully you guys found this video helpful. If you're trying to find your own place, I wish you the best of luck in your apartment hunts. And if you're not moving to Seoul and you're not looking for an apartment, maybe you just found it interesting. And yeah, cool. Bye.